Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Monday. I hope the week has started well wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. Thank you as always for joining me. Now, I have to say, I had a little bit of a predicament as I was starting to record this show today. I can literally look over the top of this computer right now and see my back garden, and I've got two people in there with chainsaws and leaf blowers, and they're basically trimming hedges and ivy that's coming over from the neighbours behind, all that sort of stuff. Boring stuff that you don't really want to hear about. But the reason I'm telling you it is because it is pretty loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I certainly can hear it right now, and I'm looking at it as it's happening. If you do hear or can hear the sort of dull noise of a machine in the background, then it's either I didn't do a show this morning because of it, or I did it and quite frankly, you're just going to have to deal with it. I hope it's fine. I think it probably is, because whenever I sort of bring these things up, you always say in the comments, I can't hear it. What are you talking about? What are you apologizing for? So I hope that is the case today, and this show isn't ruined a little bit by the sound of machinery going on backstage. But anyway, I hope you're having a good start to the week. It is Monday. The sun is out. We've got a heat wave coming over here in the UK. The Premier League season starts in 5 days or 4 days times, whatever it is. Obviously, we've got to wait till Sunday for Arsenal versus Manchester United, but we're getting there. It is closer. We had a good weekend. Arsenal had a good win. We saw 3 good goals. We saw a good performance. We saw the new striker get off the mark. It was a good day at the Emirates on Saturday. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm starting the week feeling pretty good, and I hope you're all feeling pretty good as well. Now, before we get into the show, which we're going to sort of focus today on selling players, and I have spoken about it before, but there's a few bits and pieces doing the rounds at the moment. Today, on Oleksandr Zinchenko, possible move to Turkey. You've got Reece Nelson, the Fulham stuff bubbling away as well. Jakub Kiwior, that still doesn't seem to be sort of absolutely not happening in terms of a move away. So I just want to talk about that whole thing as a whole, because I think it's very, very important when it comes to Arsenal. And I think certainly for what we're all hoping for in terms of potentially adding at least one more player to the squad, then selling players could well be very important as well. So we'll talk about that. But a little bit of housekeeping, admin, whatever you want to call it. I mentioned it on yesterday's show, but we are doing a couple of big Inside Arsenal FPL leagues. Now, we've got the normal one, which you don't have to be an Inside Arsenal member for, which is just a bit of fun. And I spoke about that yesterday, and lots of you are in the comments saying, what is the code? So that is the code right there on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. I will also put it in the description below. If you want to join just the regular Inside Arsenal FPL league for this season, there is the code for you. But if you want to join the Inside Arsenal's Members League for this season, and if you do that, then you're in with a chance of winning prizes, Manager of the Month prizes, overall prizes, all those sort of things. But you need to be an Inside Arsenal member to enter that league. And if you're not already a member, you can become one. You can find it in the description below. Copy and paste that link and go directly to Patreon and sign up through Patreon. Don't do it through Apple, because they try and add their little surcharges, which is just ridiculous. So do it through Patreon, and you can do it on there, and then you get access to the Discord chat community that we've got there. You also get access to the Patreon chat page as well, and you'll be able to find the code to join that league and get in with a chance of winning your monthly Manager of the Month prizes and overall prizes at the end of the season as well. Lots of you already done that, but if you haven't done it and you want to become a member, then please do that. But, and this is the important thing, if you want to enter that Inside Arsenal Members League, then you have to sign up and be a member and have your team submitted by the sort of end of the first cut-off period ahead of this weekend's fixtures. Right. Sorry, that has dragged on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but that is the admin out of the way now, and we can start to talk about the possibility of Arsenal selling some players, because this has been a big summer for Arsenal, incomings-wise. We've seen some big investments made, some big players signed, your Gyökeres, your Maduekes, your Zubamendes, all that sort of stuff. But in terms of outgoings, it's been very, very limited so far. Arsenal have barely brought in any money. Last summer, they had a pretty good summer when it came to selling players. It's not really materialised yet this summer. And that is obviously important. There's no doubt about it. You look at what Liverpool have been able to do in the transfer market this summer, and a big part of that, and what they could potentially still do in the transfer market this summer, and a big part of that is a huge amount of money that they've brought into the club through selling players. And Arsenal haven't been able to do that yet this summer. But I think the focus on the window right now will be on that. There's no doubt about it. I don't think they're absolutely ruling out doing any more business. Mikel Arteta said it himself in the press conference after the game on Saturday. But you do feel like to do some significant business and potentially do the sort of sign-ins or sign-in that we all really want to see and feel that the club need, then some outgoings are going to have to happen. Zinchenko, the Turkey links, Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho apparently wants him. That's what's coming out of Turkey this morning, that a formal offer has been made to Arsenal, and talks between the two clubs are sort of centered around potentially around £15 million offer. We don't know what this offer is yet. I haven't been able to confirm if this offer is legit yet. It's just been sort of started rumblings of it this morning before I did this show. Zinchenko is an interesting player just because of the money he's on. I don't think it's going to be the easiest move to facilitate Turkey. And I'm always a bit suspicious when links come out of Turkey. I've said this before in the past, but it kind of does make sense because of the tax laws in Turkey and how much players can earn in wages over there. It does feel like, that could be a possibility there, because Zinchenko might not have to take that bigger pay cut because of the tax breaks that they get over in Turkey. Mourinho's a fantastic coach, obviously. Fenerbahce have spent some big money. Lots of good players have gone over to Turkey. So maybe that is something that would be appealing to him. I mean, frankly, I don't really care where he goes. I've liked Zinchenko, who's a really key player. Obviously, he's fallen down the pecking order a little bit now, quite a lot now. But at the time he signed, he was a big game changer for this squad and helped raise the level of this squad at a time when it was really, really needed. But it's just about trying to bring some money in and to balance these books. We've got Reece Nelson as well. The Fulham talks rumbling on, not yet come to an agreement. I don't think it's just Fulham who would like the opportunity to potentially sign Reece Nelson this summer. I think Fulham would probably be his preference, given he went there last season, given the players who are already at the club, given the fact he could stay in London. But there are other clubs in the sort of running for Reece Nelson as well. Jakub Kiwior, a player I haven't seen come really in the weekend. When Calafiori's been fit, Calafiori's been getting the nod ahead of Kiwior in pre-season this summer, which, if you're Kiwior, you're looking at and thinking, that's not great considering how I finished last season. But I think that is, again, a sort of indicator when you look at it and think, although Arsenal wouldn't certainly be pushing Kiwior out the door by any means, and they would like him to stay and be part of this squad, if a good offer came in for Kiwior, a good offer, we've seen reports, Arsenal turned down about 24 million from Porto for Kiwior already this summer. But if an offer came on the table that they really did consider and he pushed for it, then I think, that's the sort of move that Arsenal would maybe reluctantly on that one, but still think it's a worthwhile deal to do. Sambi Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, all these sort of players. Arsenal need to move them on, and they need to bring in some money for these players. And I think it'd be really important for them to do that. Andre Berta's had a really good summer, I think, so far. When it comes to the incomings, the deals he's got over the line, the contract renewals that he's got over the line. He's had a very, very good summer, productive summer in his first summer at the club. But this is going to be a really crucial stage, I think, for Arsenal now in terms of trying to sell some players maybe not before the season starts, but certainly, before the end of the transfer window. And then that could just open up the opportunity to maybe dip your hand into the market one last time. Now, the Eze stuff continues to rumble on. I've spoken about it. I spoke about it in yesterday's show, how as much as Arsenal do like Eberechi Eze, and there has been stuff going on with him this summer, as it stands at the moment, I think quite a few things need to fall into place for that to still happen this summer. Certainly wouldn't sit here and say it won't happen. Of course it won't. If Arsenal, if a good offer comes in for Trossard, we're talking about selling players, or even a Martinelli at this stage. I feel more Trossard than Martinelli. But if a good offer came in for them, suddenly there's money on the table, Arsenal would have to replace, no doubt about it. And that's where you'd think they'd certainly step up that interest in Eberechi Eze. So there's lots to do. Let me know your thoughts on this. I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments below in terms of Arsenal and selling players, because it always it always generates an awful lot of debate in terms of what they should do. Let me just bring up the squad list for you. I don't understand, by the way, why Arsenal still haven't got Ethan Nwaneri on this squad list now that he signed his new contract. I don't know why he's not part of the first team squad list on Arsenal.com. I'm sure it's just an oversight, and it will be added very, very soon because it makes no sense otherwise. But you look at that squad, and it is a big, big squad now for what is needed in terms of the Premier League season. You know, Arteta wants a big squad. He's spoken about that and the need for extra options. But even so, this feels fairly heavy when you look at it. And you look at the substitutes who could be named if everyone's fit. That there are players that are going to have to be left out of this squad, and players on fairly decent chunk of money. You know, we've talked about Zinchenko, certainly front and centre of that, but Fabio Vieira as well. It does need trimming. When you think that Ethan's not even added to this list, there's no Max Dowman on this list as well, who I think is pretty clearly going to be an option this summer. Squad needs to be managed and does need to be trimmed a little bit, not massive, but a little bit. So I think it's going to be really important that they do that. And I think this period of selling players with the Zinchenko rumours, everything like that, I think it's really something to keep an eye on over the next couple of weeks or so. So let me know your thoughts on what you think in terms of is the best squad size. Who do you think Arsenal should go? If, say, this rumour of a bid from Fenerbahce for Zinchenko is true and it is around the £50 million mark, is that a good offer for Zinchenko? Personally, I think it is at this stage. But let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below, and how important it is that Arsenal do generate a little bit of funds to potentially go down the Eze route or the, I don't know, Rodrigo route. I mean, it feels a bit pie in the sky to say that now at this stage of the window, but who knows? It might still happen. So let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Actually, before we're moving on, I've seen the video doing the rounds yesterday, and we will talk about this. In fact, have I got it next year? We will talk about this. The Community Shield yesterday. And I saw the videos of Eze when he was coming down with his winners' medal, having lifted the trophy and getting the medals, and someone in the crowd said, Eze, you sign in for Arsenal. And there's been so much analysing of his reaction. It's like, was that a smile? Was it a smirk? What was it on Eze's face? It just made me laugh. Classic transfer window stuff. Again, missed his penalty, which should have been retaken, by the way. I don't know how that Alisson wasn't off his line for that penalty. It didn't matter. Crystal Palace still won. Liverpool missed out on the opportunity of winning the Community Shield. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. And there's an amazing stat. I think only one of the last 14 winners of the Community Shields has gone on to win the Premier League the following season, which is absolutely mad. But fair play to Crystal Palace. What a remarkable job Glasner's done. What a remarkable story it is in terms of what's going on at Crystal Palace at the moment. FA Cup winners just a few months ago, Community Shield winners now, beating Liverpool on penalties. Fair play to them. I didn't think Liverpool looked, and I didn't see the whole game, but I didn't think Liverpool looked particularly special. I didn't think defensively they looked particularly great. It's impossible to read too much into it at this stage. We know that Liverpool might well, or probably will dip into the transfer market again between now and the end of the transfer window. But they're good. There's no doubt about it. They were good last season. They look like they've improved this season. Ekitike scored a good goal yesterday. Vert's got an assist yesterday. Even Frimpong scored as well. Are they unbeatable? I do not think they are. Absolutely don't think they're unbeatable yet. So bring on the new season is all I can say. And congratulations once again to Crystal Palace. Right, let's move on to some of your questions now, shall we? We've got one here, from Mason Reed. Says, Charles, why do you think Dowman and Kivior weren't involved? I think when it comes to Kivior, it's kind of what we've just spoken about. And I just think at the moment he's got it a little bit down in the pecking order. And it certainly appears that Calafiori is ahead of him, whether that be at centre-back or even left-back at the moment. And that's why he wasn't involved at the weekend. In terms of Dowman, it is just purely down to school holidays. I mean, we've got to remember this kid is just 15, and that's how he has to kind of live his life, and how his family have to live his life at the moment. Like we all do, who've got kids. I've just come back from my summer holiday that I had to wait to take until the kids were broken up from school, and it's very, very similar with Max Dowman. As mad as that sounds, because we all consider him an Arsenal footballer right now, he is just a 15-year-old kid who's still at school and will be going back to school, and needs to take a bit of a break when the summer holidays. And he's obviously had been away, had the tour and all that sort of stuff. So he did all that this summer. He was involved with England as well in the Euros, and now he's having a bit of family time, which all kids need to do. He needs to be allowed to still be a kid because he is one. And that's why he wasn't involved. Arsenal allowed him to go off and have his bit of summer break right now. I'm sure he'll be back fairly soon. And we'll start to see him around again at the moment. But that's why he wasn't involved at the weekend. One here from Chance. He says, if we're going to go all the way, we need all players to stay fit. One of them is Calafiori. He offers so much dynamism going forward. Our left wing looks so much better with him. Gyökeres is a typical number 9, holds up play, runs into the channels, and is deadly at goal. He should have scored 2 last night. Saturday, he means. Zubimendi, oh my, he's the orchestra of our midfield. He needs to stay fit. Yeah, on this one, I wanted to include this one just to talk about Calafiori, because I do think Calafiori is an absolute game changer in this team and in this squad in terms of what he offers when he's on the pitch and when he's fit, and the versatility that he brings to the team, all that sort of stuff. And we didn't really have that. We weren't able to really see that last season with Calafiori because of all the injuries, how much football he missed. If he can stay fit, and I know it's a big if when it comes to him, because we saw it last season, reliability is not absolutely fantastic when it comes to him. But if he can stay fit this season, I think what he's going to bring to this team, a lot of people are underestimating. I think he's going to bring an awful lot. We saw it, bits and pieces of it in the first half of the weekend in that game against Athletic Club. Just, it's almost popping up as a left 8 at times, especially with Rice and Zubimendi playing more in that double pivot. He was almost playing as a left 8. He was helping out Martinelli, making out Martinelli not so isolated. I don't think he's going to start every game. Of course he's not. Lewis Skelly deservedly has that shirt, I think, at the moment, although that is a debate as well. But just when he is in the team, I think he's going to bring so much to it. I really, really do. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can bring. Fingers crossed he can stay fit. We've got one from Timmerman here. He says, hi, Charles. A lot of people have been talking about Martinelli needing support on the left. That Calafiori provided that in the last game against Bilbao. What I saw was Gyökeres also provided support, and a couple of times by making a run in behind so Martinelli could either pass the ball or cut inside. This support from Gyökeres is something I've not really seen when Havertz plays. So could Gyökeres also make Martinelli a bigger threat, do you think? I think he could, absolutely. I mean, you look at Saka's goal and the part that Gyökeres played in that by dropping deep. Arsenal, I think it was Odegaard, wasn't it? Sort of drilled the ball into Gyökeres, and he dropped deep. He dragged his defenders with him by doing that, and Martinelli saw the space that had been created by Gyökeres dropping deep and just went in the central areas behind Gyökeres. Odegaard picked him out, and that led to Saka's goal. We saw that a couple of times as well when Gyökeres did drift over to the left-hand side and Martinelli would come in centrally, where we know he's a threat. And I think that's something we're going to see from Arsenal this season. I think that Gyökeres, with his preference to drift over to that side and play on the left-hand side and run into the channels, he is going to play closely with Martinelli. He's going to have to. And then when the more and more they get used to playing against each other, the more that Martinelli sees the space that will be vacated by Gyökeres dropping over to the left and pulling the defender out with him. Get into that space, get into the central areas, take advantage of it. We saw signs of it at the weekend, and I think we will see plenty more signs of it as the season progresses, as the pair of them and the team get used to playing with this new striker who does, hopefully what Gyökeres is going to do throughout the season, which is going to be very, very good things when he does play, because Kai Havertz is certainly going to play an awful lot of football as well. And that's it from me this morning, everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a great start to your week. I'll be back to do it all over again tomorrow. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.